Welcome to Inside the Upside Down. I'm Mike Ricksecker. With me is the chat Shananigator from Edge of the Rabbit Hole, Shana Wankel. And we have a very interesting show for you this evening, the Ganzfeld Experiment, which Shana has actually performed in. But first, I want to thank everybody for sticking around, coming for the second round after the Edge of the Rabbit Hole. This is Inside the Upside Down, kind of the after show of Edge of the Rabbit Hole, where we get into some other, supernatural topics. And so this is kind of an interesting one. But first, the music piece that you heard was composed by Rio from Firesphere. So she has sent us a few different tracks. She's scoring some music for us. We played, Darkest Wonderland last week. This one was called Tears of Ghosts. So let us know what you think of it. You will hear it again at the end of the show as well when we close out. So Shauna, I know we both really enjoyed the music of Firesphere. So
yeah, they're pretty awesome. They're very Queensryche-ish.
Yeah. I think I said one time it was hauntingly Queensryche-ish. So
yeah.
So you can check them out also on Enigma Underground Radio, which is on Thursday nights. So Ganzfeld Experiment. Now, I had to do some research on this. I knew I had to do a sensory deprivation. I did not know a lot about it. This is one of those areas that Shauna has the expertise in. So Shauna, I'm going to let you kind of dive into it a little bit here. Let everybody know exactly what this is and what it does, because I know they've probably seen some of the pictures with the crazy red lights and the the balls on the eyes and all this stuff. So what the heck is going on here?
Yeah, there's different ways I know to do it, and then there's people that do it using actual sensory deprivation tanks and stuff like that. But obviously, I didn't have a portable tank to take with me everywhere I go. So if you watch the movie Insidious, there was a little bit of that going on then. It's basically you're depriving yourself of sight and sound. You don't see forms, figures. You don't see anything going on in the natural habitat around you, and you don't hear people talking to you in real time. You don't hear outside interference and stuff like that. And the idea is to use some type of white noise to help yourself go into a trance-like state. You're tuning out the things that will distract you, and it makes it easier to go under. And when you go under, it pretty much opens you up a little more to other kinds of outside interference in the name of spirits. Some people project. I personally, that didn't happen to me, only because the building that I was in kind of had a bit of an unstable atmosphere, so I would not have dreamed of closing my eyes in that building.
Yeah, and this is to test extrasensory perception, right? This is to kind of see what exactly ESP may be. And Tom McNicholas with the $10 super chat. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate that right off the bat here. Thank you. Always appreciate that support from you guys. So, but that's what it's supposed to be. What you're supposed to be testing, correct?
Yeah. Because sometimes we put so much emphasis on some of our other senses that it distracts away from the one that we want to use the most whenever we're investigating, where you're wanting to be a little more tuned in. And it's especially helpful, I think, because there's some people that aren't able to naturally tune in, and this is kind of a way to help with that. It is for me, it was very unnerving. I mean, you totally feel like you're isolated, even though your people are just a table away from you. You cannot hear, anything.
So was it completely, or were you completely sensory deprived? You could not tell that they were there at all?
No, we tested it, pretty well to make sure And like I said, they were literally just a few feet away from me. Carried on a conversation. I couldn't hear anything. The only thing that I could hear, we had the noise canceling, the good
Mm-hmm.
headphones, and then had a white noise. Or actually, I used to have an app on my phone, a previous phone, and it had different colors of noise. It had white noise, it had pink noise, and they're all just a little different. So, as the picture showed on this video, the red light, I think that's the most commonly used color. So in keeping with that theme, we used an app that played pink noise.
Mm-hmm.
And that's literally all you can hear. I mean, that's it. You cannot hear anything else going on around you.
Pumpkinhead Paranormal is saying sounds similar to using a sensory deprivation tank, and yeah, that's essentially what it is. You are depriving the senses just without having to use the whole big tank.
Right. And we just took turns. You can lay down if you want to do it. I personally chose to sit up. Felt too vulnerable laying down. I wanted to be able to bolt if I needed to. And if it was in the cafe, and Mike has heard
Oh,
50
many
million
stories about the cafe. Yeah.
Yeah, and even when there's no sensory deprivation going on, that place is so unstable that you just never know what's going to happen in there. So doing this in there, even with other people around, was still, a little bit of a risk, because there's so many different kinds of energy in that building, and some of those spirits were extremely hands-on. So making yourself vulnerable to stuff like that, it's a risk.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, we already knew that, they could hurt you in there if they really wanted to. We had seen signs of that. So,
Yeah. Sean
safety in
Oldsmith is
numbers,
asking, did you get vertigo?
I did not. I did not get that. It took me a little bit to go under. Really, the only thing that we had a red lamp, and with the shade off, so it was really bright. And then we put, you can put ping pong balls, like cut them in half and put them over. But I was always afraid that there would be a little bit of, bleed through, in case it doesn't fit. So we use, like enough gauze so where it was thick enough to where you couldn't see forms, features, or shapes or anything like that. But it was just thin enough to where you could just see the glow from the red. So it's just red everywhere, and sitting on a chair. And we each did it there was about 6 or 7 of us. We each did it for about 20 minutes. We figured that was a good place to start.
Sure.
Because, I figured it would take me at least half that time to relax enough to go under, to do it anyway. I had been to
I would probably fall asleep.
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
no, I was too where I would not fall asleep in that building. I
the
not.
building. Yeah, I guess with that building, you probably wouldn't.
No. And then the rule was nobody discussed anything that they experienced or anything that they felt. Everybody wrote their stuff down and then compared it after the last person was done to see what was the same and what was different. And almost all of us heard and felt horses, like
interesting,
beats on the ground. And I felt them so strongly that, I didn't know what they were doing behind me, but we all watched what each person, was doing, their actions, or if they said anything. And apparently, at one point, I had grabbed onto my chair, and I remember doing that because I felt like I was going to be knocked out of it. Those horses felt so close, and of course, there's no horses in the building,
right?
But about 10 minutes into it, I finally felt myself, starting to relax enough to kind of go under. I didn't feel like I was in the cafe anymore, and some people heard Indian flutes, which
Well, it makes sense for right there.
makes sense.
'Cause there's an Indian
Yeah.
encampment right
So,
there.
I mean, I did not hear that. I did hear voices. I heard what sounded like a child, and so they said that I kind of cocked my head to the side, like I might have been, leaning towards something or listening to something. It seemed like it was coming from, far away, and I couldn't see anything.
Mhm.
It wasn't enough. I didn't go under enough to where I could see anything going on around me. But I could feel a lot of things, and I was starting to gradually hear more. And then finally, I heard the voice get closer, and I felt someone come up, and they said that I put my hands out like to stop somebody from coming in my face. So whoever entered my circle was close enough that I thought that I was in danger of them coming at me. So
a couple of questions already from the chat. And thank you down there in Periscope as well. I know that Periscope is mistitled because I forgot to change the title of the Periscope, but we are talking about Ganzfeld Experiment. And we had William Stillman on earlier, so sorry Periscope, but you got mislabeled. Shay Carroll, where were you? She had missed it, and some people may not know about the cafe, so kind of describe the location a little bit.
Okay, well, the cafe was in Campsville, Illinois, which is my hometown, in Calhoun County. So if you look at a map of Illinois where the Illinois and the Mississippi rivers meet, that's where I was. So right by the river. And this cafe, when it originally was built, it was a funeral home. And through the years, it was a restaurant, a store. It was that, back and forth a lot. And it was a grocery store whenever I remembered it, whenever I was young. And then it opened up as a cafe, and I started working there. And right next door to us was the archaeology museum, and the girls that worked there and I eventually started getting together and brainstorming and talking about all of our activity and became a paranormal team. So the entire town of Campsville is just this hotbed of paranormal activity, and
it really is.
Yeah, it would be easier. It would be harder to find some place that doesn't have anything going on. Well, except for my parents.
There's nothing going on at your parents. Like the only place in town where there's nothing going on. Yeah.
Like if there was like this cone of silence, I mean, there was just nothing going on there.
Yeah, and for you all that have been watching the Haunted Road Media channel for a long time now, this is the area where Goldenrod Showboat was right up the road. The Campsville grade school videos were shot there. We covered the flood that happened there last year. The locks, our adventure through the jungle to go check out the old lock system was down there. So it gives you kind of an idea of what we've done there. And of course, Shana lived there for her whole life, practically.
And if you go on our channel and you look at our playlists, you can binge watch all of our Illinois videos and
all those are in the
we've
Illinois.
ever done. There.
So Carrie Parrish was wondering why you subjected yourself to this.
Because we were looking for something new.
Yeah,
just
trying things
kind
out.
of experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in that building there was so much going on. And we hardly ever went anywhere else as a team. I mean, occasionally we would do a private residence, or sometimes we would branch out across the river, but there was so much going on in that one spot. And it was just this ongoing saga of events that was going on, all this stuff that was connected to each other, that was connected to other people, to other buildings, there were so many connected dot moments that we didn't think we needed to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
But that's why we decided to try it.
BD Flint says that she has been binge watching. So thank you, BD. Bonnie Halperin was wondering if you saw the figures clearer.
I think that if I were to do it again in there, knowing what I know now, um, I probably would have seen more. It was mostly hearing and feeling things for me. I personally didn't see anything. But then it took me about half the time that the whole process took just to relax enough to go under in there, because I did not want to make myself vulnerable to everything that was going on in there. So other people did see. A lot of people saw crows.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
You know.
Well, Jen
So,
with a $20
yeah.
super chat. Wow. Good night, everyone. Have a warm night. Well, good night, Jen. And thank you for being a fantastic super chat superstar this evening. That is very, very kind of you. We really do appreciate that. So.
Also, one of the people saw somebody that would have been dressed in like old school Asian, almost like
Asian?
with the pointy,
Yeah, with the hat.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
And where it was kind of the attire was gold colored, kind of a yellow colored. Now, meanwhile, there's nothing in that area. I would think that it would be some type of. I don't know why that particular ethnicity would be in that spot, unless it was someone coming to them from something totally unrunrelated.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
somebody traveling maybe, because obviously, obviously Native Americans, because they had an encampment there. The English, who eventually, built up the area, and then you had the French come through during the explorations, because right down the Illinois River was the Marquette and Joliet expedition, which they stopped off. In fact, there's a marker up the road, but it's not like they stayed. So it would have to be. That's really interesting. So let's see. There was something from Shay. She wants to know: have you only done it there? How many times?
I personally only done it there one time. I think only my group did it in there that one time, and then I've never really done it anywhere else. But I am definitely open to doing it. So anywhere really, except for where I live. I don't really.
You don't want to do it at home.
No,
right.
Because for right now, there's nothing going on in here, and I don't really want to invite anything.
Well, you have kids, so yeah. Plus, your home is like your sanctuary, so you don't want to.
Yeah. This has been my first sanctuary, actually, where the kids have not seen, heard, felt anything. The only visitations happen personally to me, and it's not anything that I can see physically. It's something that I can see, So, but I prefer to keep it that way. And in all the other places I've lived, there was no sanctuary about it. So I don't know if I'm just able to shield stuff better, or, because I certainly wasn't doing anything then. So.
Right. Well, you talk about a lot about ground and shield, and so you've probably become more practiced over the years, I imagine.
Yeah, it's for everybody that does it, it's, when I'm at home, I really don't want to, there's at least a couple that come through, but everybody else, I really don't. But whenever I'm investigating, I have not yet mastered how to pick and choose who comes in and who doesn't, because sometimes at Mineral Springs, it's a little bit, and I know it's probably simply as easy as just really putting a lot of back into, just focusing on specific ones. It's like, okay, just one, you or whoever. It's probably that easy, but for some reason I just I just can't do it.
So a couple of things that I wanted to ask you about your particular Ganzfeld experiment. So a lot of the, at least from the reading that I had done in preparation for this and the videos that I had watched, a lot of times what they're trying to do is there's one person viewing and one person that's a projector. And so the projector is looking at an image, trying to convey it to the person that's reading, that has all the whole get up on. So did you guys do any of that, or were you just trying to sense what was in the cafe?
Yeah, we didn't try to do a trial run with each other. We just jumped right into seeing what happened at the cafe, you know? We're like, nah, we don't need to do all that stuff. Let's just get into it, you know?
Okay.
So, now my friend Rita, her and I usually had similar experiences everywhere. We had similar stuff happen to us with that experiment. So, probably had her and I done something like that, with each other, I think it probably would have been successful. We seem to be on the same wavelength most of the time. I tried to get her to join in chat tonight.
That would have been good, yeah.
Yeah. So
Rita didn't want to join?
Yeah, whoa.
Rita, come on now.
I know. We're on a little too late.
It is a little. It's an after show. I mean, it's our own show, inside the Upside Down, but it is pretty much the after show of Edge of the Rabbit Hole. So
Yeah, what I would love to do is get her in on the rabbit hole and have us just talk cafe all night. Because I'm telling you, I could write a book just on that one spot, and it would be so thick. I mean, that place.
Yeah, there's a ton that apparently goes on there, and I hear about it all the time.
I know, but there's this whole floor caving in issue, and
who needs a floor?
Yeah, I've been in the cellar.
Suspend me from the ceiling.
I wouldn't recommend it.
So, Shay was saying something about that she was trying to post in the previous show and it didn't go. Justin Spurrier down there in Periscope. Thanks, Justin. Yes, the Periscope show is mislabeled. I know. Sean Oldsmith is wondering, has anything followed you home?
Not to this home, but to all of my other homes. I have been followed home many times, even after telling them, please do not follow me home. I lived in such close proximity to the places that I was going. Like, I could go to the end of my walk and throw a rock and it'd be in the property of the places that I was going. So, and actually, we were there one night. We had some people from St. Louis visiting, a visiting team, and we lived really close to the park, to the city park. So one of the investigators and I walked up to the soda machines to get some drinks for everybody, and everybody that was sitting outside saw something, a form, run up the road after us. And then apparently it wasn't the first time that had happened, wherever I was going, something would be, chasing up. But I never saw anything. But apparently it didn't just follow me home. Apparently stuff just followed me everywhere I was going, too. So. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for the super heart down in Periscope. Really do appreciate that. That is fantastic.
Yeah, I've had many.
You've had some interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom McNicholas with a question: would the Ganzfeld experiment make those who weren't gifted open their mind and have experiences after?
If you are open to it, if you can relax enough, just like with anything else, we all have some type of. We all have a sixth sense. We all have the ability, to be sensitive to this stuff. Just some people need a little more coaxing to bring it out. You know, I really think that. I think that if you're brought up to think, no, 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 if you're programmed to think, no, that's not okay, it's not okay, then you may never, you know, but you personally, we all personally have to open up to this stuff. So if you really allow yourself to relax and focus, after that experiment, things just kind of gradually, it kind of just opened the door a little more for me. Activity really started, you know, amping up after that. So,
well, yeah, I would think with anything like that, I mean, just in general, really, I mean, you're furthering the opening of your mind to this type of activity. So I think just on the whole premise, even if you're conducting a different experiment, the fact that you are continuing to open yourself up and open your mind to these different type of phenomena, I think that in itself helps you to experience more and to start having more of these experiences when you go to these places.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, our last guest, William, was talking about that a bit. So, Bonnie Halpern wants to know, did you have dreams or nightmares after doing the experiment?
I had a lot of very interesting dreams afterwards, but I was dreaming about, I've had a lot of dreams about Byron over the years. I haven't noticed it so
for those,
much.
Byron is the little boy that Shana has seen there.
Yeah, he's in the second Encounters book.
Yep, Encounters with
So
Paranormal 2.
If you get that book, you will read all about him and see his, you know, handsome little face that Adam drew to a T. It was like he just reached inside my mind and pulled out a photograph and pasted it on the book. Is basically what it was like. So if you want to know what he looks like, it's almost like a photograph of him. So yeah, I had a lot, and I would say that they were probably visitations of some kind. But then I saw him in person too. So
right. So you were having a visitation in your dreams after doing the experiment?
Yeah. I mean, he started visiting a lot more when I was sleeping. But I did notice that I was starting to dream about people that I did not know. So, and they always say, you know, that if you have a dream about someone that you don't know, you know, either it's somebody that you might have known that you don't realize it, or it could be somebody that's not in the same realm as us. So, but I started dreaming about a lot of different people that I didn't know.
I'll just say it. Sorry, Jessica Shea was wondering if I saw her comment, so I was scrolling back up. She said she had a family emergency and is back with lots of videos to watch. So happy to have you back, Jessica. So there, now I don't have to type it. Nice, Tom. So Tom McNicholas says, ask Shana if she can see if I will get picked for jury duty tomorrow.
Do you want to get picked for jury duty tomorrow?
You could probably use a magic 8 ball for this one.
Yeah, if the answer is no, then just put as much energy into it being a huge no as possible. Positive energy. If you positively do not want to do jury duty tomorrow, then you have to really not want to do it tomorrow and put 100% faith that you're not going to get called for it.
Right.
I've never done jury duty, so I've been lucky so far.
So I did want to ask you, going back to conducting the experiment, so the pink noise. So how is that different from the white noise?
I looked it up to see, you know, there were like 5 or 6 different colors of noise. To me, white noise and pink noise didn't really sound significantly different. If you really concentrated, there was just a tiny difference, and apparently, I don't know. Now, I don't know if I think the red light, most people use the red light, but like let's say you used There, I saw blue noise on there. So let's say if you used a blue one, would you then use the corresponding color of noise? We didn't do any of that type of experimenting. We only had the red, so we just went with the pink. But it does sound just slightly different than white noise. Without playing the both of them, it's hard to explain how it's different, but you can tell that there's a difference.
I'll have to give them a listen because, honestly, I guess I'm no expert in sound, but, when reading it and even you describing it, talking about pink noise, I was like, what the heck is pink noise?
They had brown noise, a white noise, green. I mean, the app had all these different colors, and they all sounded just a tiny bit different, each one of them. So, whatever it was, it worked. I mean, we all successfully, went under. I think coming out of it is a shock.
What do you mean by that?
We were talking about it. We were talking about it before, because if you've meditated enough, if you've gone under enough, it's not like you can say, "Hey, I'm ready to come back." I mean, I personally lost just track of everything going on around me. I was so focused on, and then near the end when I, right after something come up in my face, is when someone, from the outside world actually reached out and touched my hand, scared the shit out of me. But then they turned the app off too. I would personally recommend turning the app off first and not touching the person that's under. Don't go in front of somebody, know, because, I put my hand out, I certainly could have smacked somebody. So it was quite a shock coming out of it. Of course, this was our first time doing this too. So, didn't really, there was probably some things that we probably could have thought through, maybe planned a little bit. But it was just this, new thing, that we were wanting to experiment with. So we knew the basics of it, and how we were going to do it. So it was a really cool experience.
Yeah, I mean, think I'll have to try it out sometimes. Candy Orton is turning in for the night. Have a good night, Candy. Appreciate that. But yeah, so there was some different feedback about B3 Airspace was talking about astral colors. Pamela Rainey, we were all afraid of brown noise. Judy Wilson is asking, Judy Wilson is asking, do you know that this isn't just your imagination while doing this experiment? So I'm thinking it probably puts you into some sort of meditative state, right?
Yeah, I mean, any meditating that I had done, I usually didn't use white noise to do it. I usually, everybody has their own way that they do it. I had never used that technique before. As for it being, my imagination,
Tom McNicholas.
We all had similar.
$10 super chat. Thank you, buddy. Really, really do. He says, last one, I'm broke. Dude, if you're broke, you don't have to. You don't have to if you're broke. Seriously. We really do appreciate the support, series. We really, really do. But if you're broke, you don't have to. But we do appreciate it. Okay. So, I'm sorry. You were saying.
Yeah. Had it been just me, or if we had discussed, if everybody heard what the person before them experienced, I think that would have been different. There were people that went before me. There were people that went after me. Nobody discussed anything, and yet we were all having similar experiences.
Yeah, and I think that's good that you didn't discuss anything after you came out of it. So that, yeah, if you had ones that were similar, that might, be something right there. So, and Imla Buddha 61 is asking, is it safe to do this by yourself?
I personally, I saw whenever we were at Eldred House, which is another very cool spot in Greene County, which is the county I'm in now. My team at the time was there, and we were there with the affiliate team for the house. And one of the girls went upstairs and did it alone. There were other people in the building, but she went up there by herself, um, and just used the white noise. And she didn't do the whole experiment, but she basically at least deprived herself of sight and used the white noise and did it. I was having other experiences in the house, and so I don't know what the outcome was of that, but I deemed it crazy and decided that's all you. I'm going over here. I personally wouldn't do it alone, but it all depends. Um, it all depends on how it would affect you to do it alone. I would at least have one person there.
Yeah, I think just
I
for a
mean,
safety precaution.
what if you?
Because
I mean,
you can't. I mean, you're talking about sensory deprivation, so you can't hear, you can't see. Maybe you might be able to smell, but if there's an emergency going on, you know, one of the videos I watched, there were a couple of guys who were actually critiquing another video that they had watched where they had left their buddy basically out in the woods. They were doing Ganzfeld out in the middle of the woods, and they took off, and so the couple guys that were critiquing this video are like, he's out in the middle of the woods with all these different animals that are around. I mean, a bear could come up and just eat him because, he can't see, hear anything. So it put him in a very dangerous situation. So I think having another person.
You have to really trust your surroundings to do it alone, I would think, just from a safety standpoint, just from safety from spirit standpoint in the cafe. There is no way in the world I would have been in there alone, even without sensory deprivation.
Yeah,
I was in there. I'd been in there alone many times because I used to work there, and I would close at night, not knowing, then what was actually going on behind the scenes. Had I known, there would have been a second person in there closing with me at night. So
yeah.
yeah.
So I know there was one up here. Maybe did I miss it? Somebody had something in here. And I guess I missed. Oh, it was Greg Grinkin. Where was his comment? He was talking about what
Hey,
pink.
Greg.
Yeah, he was talking about. Oh, there it is. Okay, so Greg was actually telling us what pink noise is. So thank you, Greg. Pink noise.
Good.
Yes, pink noise is all the frequencies at equal volume used by live sound engineers to set EQ settings within venues. Awesome. So everything, all frequencies, equal volume. That makes sense. That makes sense for conducting the experiment. So thank you, Greg. Appreciate that. So, yeah. So, Jessica Shea's Mike, what happened to them? Did they come back? Yeah, they eventually came back for him. And, I mean, a younger group of guys, kind of goofing off. And that was a lot of the videos that I came across was like a lot of younger people, college age, testing stuff out and kind of throwing it up on YouTube. Let's do this. We came across it on YouTube, and we'll put the cut ping pong balls in half, put them on our eyes, and look weird and do this. But there are some others where they're kind of taking it a little bit more seriously. So, kind of a little bit hit or miss out there with trying to find the videos on it. So, Bonnie Halper, maybe at Mineral Springs. I could see us doing something like that at Mineral Springs.
I would love to do it at Mineral Springs.
Yeah. Yeah, Mineral Springs, for those of you who don't know, is in Alton, Illinois, site of our Paracon this year, June 9th. But yeah, there is so much fantastic energy at Mineral Springs and so many different locations within the building to actually try it at. So, I don't, maybe we could better communicate with Pearl or somebody down in the pool area. I don't know. I mean, I haven't tried it yet, so I don't know exactly, what you're getting.
Yeah, while we were doing the experiment, we had a recorder running also. there was a lot of activity going on around. Um, Everybody was talking about that at the end too. Like it seemed like the activity in the building had, you know, elevated a little bit more than normal because, um, you know, there was a disturbance in the force going on in some way. So there was a lot of stuff going on inside the building. We got a lot of EVPs that night on the recorder. Listening to audio in that place, it's literally like you better have a program where you have an unlimited number of bookmarks because it's just constantly. You're like, you know, if we went into the cafe and did one, you'd have to have a series of videos just for one investigation just to get all the EVPs in there. Yeah. I mean, it is so stupid crazy in that building. It's
now, do you think you got more the night you did the Ganzfeld experiment than usual?
We had some different voices that night. There were usually 6, maybe 7 regulars in there, you know, discernible voices that you could identify. But there were some new ones coming through that night. So, you know, it was always kind of like a truck stop to me. You always had the regular ones, but there were always some new ones, you know, passing through also. But yeah, that night there seemed like just way more than normal. So I don't know if they were, you know.
So like just totally different spirits?
Yeah. There were different voices. And then I didn't know it, but they were, you know, asking, you know, questions, doing like a session. I mean, I didn't hear anything. But apparently one of them, I don't remember who it was in the group, you know, and said, you know, if you want to go up there and, you know, tap him on the shoulder or, you know, whatever, you know, she won't be able to see you. She won't be able to hear you, you know.
Oh, they were suggesting that while you were under doing the experiment?
Yeah, there was some of that. There was some of that going on too. I guess just to see, you know, would we notice it? You know, would we be able to, you know, because when you go under, you know, how far under do you go?
Right.
Are you able to, you know, experience, you know, anything going on, you know, around you, or are you under to the point, you know, until you come out of it, until you're brought out of it, you know, are you only experiencing what's going on, you know, on the other level of where everything's going on? So, I personally, you know, if they were doing it to me, I didn't really, everything that I was noticing seemed to be coming from a little further away. And like I said, it wasn't until like closer to the end when something finally came up so close to me that I had to put my hands out to stop them from getting in my face. So.
Right. And they seem to be, just from all the different stories, they seem to usually be pretty hands-on there at that cafe.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, there was no mistaking the activity in that spot. I mean, you could not debunk 99% of stuff that happened in there. Like, there was no way.
You guys have to understand that I am like so envious of Shana because all these stories I hear about this cafe, and just can't get in it right now because the building's on the verge of being condemned. So, Serenable, hello from Ireland. Love the show, guys. We love Ireland. How about that?
We love.
So it's a bucket list item. We're talking about honeymoon, right? Honeymoon item?
Yes.
Yes. So, you guys are talking about dreams down in there. Interesting. Okay, movie star memories. Dreams are information. Why would anyone want to control it? Kind of depends on the situation in the dream. There are times where I'm getting in a precarious position in a dream, and I realize that I'm in a dream, and it's like, let's change the environment. So, yeah, they're talking about all kinds of stuff down there. Chat astral projection. All right. Now, I guess that's an interesting question. So, within the Ganzfeld experiment, so sensory deprivation, I know that, just accidentally relaxing myself, putting myself into a meditative state, I was like on the verge, like on the cusp of astral projecting. Of course, I didn't realize at the time because of how young I was, and I didn't know from any of that stuff. So, since you've been under with the Ganzfeld, do you think that's something you would be able to do within, while you're within this experiment, that you could astral project under the red lights?
I do believe that because one of the people in our team went somewhere else, and they were told that they needed to come back.
Did they say where they went?
They said it was Campsville, but it didn't look like Campsville. It was similar but different.
They stepped back in time or forward in time or anything like that?
Well, actually, the person that saw the Asian guy, so it might have been back.
Okay.
Like way back.
Interesting.
I mean, I don't know. I just, but that person went somewhere and was told they had to come back.
Wow. That's really interesting. Okay. So
I have projected into the cafe before. I didn't realize I wasn't trying.
You projected from somewhere else into the cafe?
I projected from my home to the cafe. Saw something going on that I had no way of knowing was going on. We used to keep playing cards in there because one of the spirits in there used to like to play poker. Would use a K2 meter. It would light up for whoever had the best hand. Whoever had the best hand was usually sitting by that meter. We would put the meter, and put the meter, by whoever, one of us would say, well, I think I have the best hand,
Okay.
And if the meter went off, whenever we go to check everybody's hands, whoever was sitting by the meter when it went off usually had 20, 25-minute poker games sometimes. So we always kept playing cards in there. And at the end of every investigation, we had a little box, little bag, whatever, all of our, candles, lighter, matches, whatever we were using, the playing cards, everything always got organized because we had other teams coming in there and we tried to keep the place cleaned up, try to keep it organized and stuff like that. So, and just religiously, the place was always kept, really nice. So
until now, when there's no floor.
No, right. Yeah. So really nothing I can do about it now, but so I assumed it was a dream, but now I had keys, and my friend Rita had keys, and Jeannie had keys.
Right. Well, Jeannie owns it. Sure.
Yeah, Jeannie always gave a heads up, obviously, whenever she visited, and she lived in, St. Louis at the time. So
she gave you a heads up so you stopped goofing off? No.
Yeah, she would, occasionally come in, but she would always give a heads up so that we could all get together. Anyway, it was a really brief flash in there, but for a minute I was standing in the dining area, and I saw playing cards literally falling out of thin air and landing on the table.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then it was over. It was just that quick flash. And so I was like, yeah, I have no idea, I had no
No
idea.
idea what
I
it
had no
meant,
idea
or yeah.
what was going on. So anyway, next day, um, Jeannie announces that she's coming into town. So she comes into town, and whenever she got there to open the place up, there were playing cards scattered all over the table. And, we were just there the night before,
Right.
So whenever was I there? I mean, I felt like I went there, the feeling of that building is unmistakable when you're in it. I felt like I was there. So did I actually go there and see it as it was happening? Or
Maybe.
did the spirits decide to play some poker and not pick up after themselves? Because when she came in, I was like, so I told her.
But you did have that flash
like,
there, so maybe somehow you picked up on their energy while they were doing that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there were times, when I would feel like I would be there, even though I knew that I physically didn't, unlock the door and go in. So
right.
I don't know. I've not done it since.
Okay. Well, we do have some other questions and comments. They kind of got into a bit of a dream discussion here, which is fine. We did the dream world last week, so there's some follow-up to that a little bit here, which we can address. We're getting down toward the end of the show anyway. So Imla Buddha 61, I think you were right last week, Mike, when you said recurring dreams have to do with unresolved issues. I've had several since then that imply that. Yeah, I think a lot of times that's the case, at least for me. That's been the case where I may have had an issue with somebody that I needed to resolve, and I would keep dreaming about them until I resolved that issue. And so, yeah, that's happened to me. Let's see. Fungi. Speaking of dreams, what about the phantom life phenomenon? So this is phantom life phenomenon is where people are within the dream or feel that they're in the dream so long, like an entire lifetime has passed, and then they wake up finally, and really it's just they had a normal sleep. So kind of think of Inception here, where they're going through all of this stuff in the dream state, but in real life it's been like that. So I don't know. I've never had a personal experience like that, and I've never actually talked to somebody that has happened to, so I can't really speak to it. But it is very interesting. Plus, I love the movie Inception, so
Yeah.
Give me Christopher Nolan films, and I'm just a sucker. So, let's see. Tom and Nicholas. Shana must have got her internet upgraded. She didn't break up once tonight. I don't know. It's the Frontier has been okay tonight. Now it's gonna jinx. It's gonna jinx it.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised too, because there's an ice storm going on out there.
Yeah.
And there's
maybe it's because everybody
else
else is off the internet because of the ice storm.
Maybe.
Let's see. Carrie said I told you I could help you with astral. I know. Carrie. Yeah, Carrie. I know. I haven't had time to think about astral projection since you offered that. I know. Let's see. Okay, Joe Chandler saying the show has been great tonight. Thank you. Appreciate that. So Shay Carroll wants to know, Shana, if you do it again, will you film it?
I don't think it's a bad idea.
We could do that. Maybe it's something that we'll do here on Haunted Road Media. Maybe we'll set it up during one of these investigations and just see what happens. So I think we're
maybe even do a live stream.
We could do a live stream of it. That would be interesting.
To see if anybody sees anything going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there might be things going on around that maybe you guys would pick up. So, and I think we would probably try it both ways too. We could try the, the way they do the experiment a lot, where one person's trying to, visualize something and send it to the other person. We could try that, and then we could do like a second round where, we try to just see what we can get from the environment.
Right.
What do you think?
Sounds like a plan to me.
All right. Yep. B3 Airspace live stream of Sleep Lab. Yeah, we could do that. So, and everybody's thinking that is a cool idea. And thanks for the hearts down there in the Periscope, Justin. Appreciate that. So, anything else you guys want to know? We're getting down toward the end of the show. So if you have any questions, throw them out there. And, we'll give them an answer. We could just make it a free-for-all at this point. Unless you have anything else you want to talk about with Ganzfeld. So, I don't know. Tom, we can do it at It's Raining Zen. Yeah, that would be at Mineral Springs. So, that would actually be a great place to do it at. So, Nellie is saying, glad you're feeling better.
Thank you.
All right. So I guess if that's it, guys, we can go ahead and do the shout outs. And Shay is saying, love the subject. Awesome show. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, okay. Remember our event, Mineral Springs Hotel, June 9th. You can go to the Haunted Road Media page, and if you haven't signed up for the event, go ahead and do something. We don't really have to sign up for the event. Just if you want to do the investigation, or if you want a vendor table. How long, Pamela Rainey, how long can you sleep deprive? Hey, I'm the one that goes like 2 hours of sleep every night. I don't know. I don't want to try it because it's not healthy at all. Not. So we have the event coming up June 9th. So check it out at the Haunted Road Media page on Facebook. You can get all the information there. And if you're interested in the investigation we have going on with it, we have a lot of great speakers lined up. We have live music. There's going to be an exhibit of Goldenrod showboat artifacts. A lot of cool stuff that we're doing. A lot of people from out of town. Like Lee Ehrlich's coming up from Florida. We got Rob Guttrow coming from Maryland. Adam Tillery's coming out from Kansas. Of course, we got some of the great local people like Chris Sutton is going to be there as well. And so, it's going to be a great lineup. Of course, you got your ghosty, your t-shirts, all that stuff. Let's do shout-outs. I was going to say, the Super Chat Superstars. Tom McNicholas. Tom, really do appreciate it. But again, if you're broke, you don't have to. And then I know Jen went to bed, but she is a Super Chat Superstar. Really appreciate you guys and everybody who contributed during the last episode on Edge of the Rabbit Hole. That was absolutely fantastic. So, and people are saying that they adored William as a guest speaker last show too. So awesome. Yeah, William was great.
Awesome.
He was great. So, all right. And again, Justin, thanks for the hearts down there in Periscope. And so let's go ahead and do the shout-outs. Well, our chat Shananigator is with us tonight here. So there's your shout-out. Shay Carroll, have a great night. Greg Rinkin, hey, thanks for the pink noise information. Zippy Davis, thank you as always. Nellie Moen, thank you. Sean Oldsmith, thank you from Australia. Bonnie Halperin, Cheshire Cat, awesome. Thanks for being out here tonight. Beat 3 Airspace, thank you so much. B3 Airspace, Tom McNicholas, and Grizz are our Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patrons. So you can also find us patreon.com/Haunted Road Media. There's some cool stuff out there. So there's some like behind the scenes videos, Q&A videos, little snippets here and there. So just additional stuff from us. Jessica Shea, thank you. The two Shay Carroll and Jessica Shea. Yeah, I like that. Pamela Rainey, thank you very much. Tim Schoen, thank you. Joe Chandler, have a great night. BD Flint, thanks again. BD had a super chat last episode, which was great. Bethany Warner, thank you very much. Imla Buddha 61, thank you. Carrie Parrish is sleepy. Have a great night, Carrie. Tom McNicholas, we got you a couple times. Diane Hilbert, thank you very much for joining us again. Fungi, thank you for your questions. Who else do we have? Sean Gilmore, hey, I'll see you on Thursday, buddy. And who else do we have? Anybody else? I know it's getting late. I think that's I could scroll up way farther, but I guess that will about do it. If we missed anybody, we don't intend to miss anybody. There's a lot of people in the chat. Cheryl Midkiff, there we go. All right, and Ludafan G, Judy Wilson, there we go. Okay, and Diane Hilbert, you are welcome. Says thanks for making Tuesday nights great again. We try. So next week, we don't have a topic for Inside the Upside Down for next week yet. We'll find one, of course. We always do. But on Edge of the Rabbit Hole, we are going to have Katie Hopkins, whose new book comes out that same day, next Tuesday, the 27th. So we are looking forward to having her on and introducing the book, Seeing Spirits from Haunted Road Media. So, and Sean Oldsmith is saying he hopes you're okay, Shauna. So, thank you. Your recovery is going pretty well. Yes.
Oh yeah, it's a lot better now. I was released to go back to work, so
yeah,
I'm hoping to go back to work this weekend, and slowly but surely easing back into some form of a diet, even though it's different, and
right.
Everything's peachy.
Yeah, everything's peachy. And feeling a little bit better. You were kind of under the weather last week, so.
Always got something going on, but
yeah,
no rest for the wicked.
Yep. All right, that's gonna do it. Justin, thanks again down there in Periscope. Appreciate it. High five. I'm sending back the high five down there. All right, everybody. Thanks again. And again, the track is oh shoot, what is the name of it? It's the Ghost track from Rio. What the heck? Shauna, what's it called? You don't know. It's the Ghost track. What is it?
Is it Tear Ghost?
Something like that. It's from Rio. Our friend. You just broke up. I didn't hear it.
Yes, I think it has tears in the title.
Tears of Ghost. Yes, Tears of Ghost. Thank you. My brain's fried. So this is from Rio, from Firesphere, Tears of Ghost. So this is track number 2. One of these 3 are going to end up being the new theme music for Inside the Upside Down. So here you go. Have a great night, everybody.